of the entire economy. Anyway, let's move on. Last one. Kamala Harris on healthcare. Now, generally, her healthcare is as bad as all the others in terms of ending up with the abolition of private insurance. But there's one aspect of it, one particular element of what she's talking about that I think is worth considering.
I have met so many Americans who stick to a job that they do not like, where they are not prospering, simply because they need the health care that that employer provides. It's time that we separate employers from the kind of health care people get.
Now, I think that's really interesting. Still private sector. We're not talking about Medicare for all, but the concept of separating healthcare from employers, still doing it through the private sector, so people have more labour mobility and flexibility. I think that sounds like a good idea. Look, I've run businesses here, and I was, why am I responsible for the healthcare? You know what I mean? I think that if people had their independence there, that would be better. I
agree. And if you look at the history of why our healthcare is so distorted and expensive to begin with, it really dates back to this World War II wage freeze, where employers were not allowed to increase wages. They had to compensate their employees and compete for talent in different ways. So they offered high incentives in terms of healthcare packages. And today, even today, healthcare that is an employer provided is not taxable, which disproportionately does not benefit. It hurts independent contractors, the self-employed, small business owners, and it's just this carve out, this set aside that is just another government involvement in our healthcare system that has totally distorted it.
The biggest opponents of this are the unions. You know why? Because they've negotiated with these big companies these incredibly generous, health benefits. The last thing they want to do is have to get rid of those. It seems to me,
there's a way of looking at the employer role in healthcare. It's a burden on business.
Oh, what was the old, joke about GM? GM isn't a car company. It's a healthcare company that just happens to make cars. I mean, It is true that the incredible high costs of healthcare have really burdened American manufacturers. When you talk about ideas that Republicans should steal from the Democrats, Republicans say, look, we can cover everybody in the United States with health care who's a citizen, but we can do it at much lower cost, not through Obamacare, not through Medicare for all, but by providing, all sorts of choices, letting people buy insurance across state lines, things that would provide universal coverage, but at much lower cost.